let's go down another rabbit hole, maybe like a little bit of a more relatable one, and it is the topic of dreams. And I've delved into a little bit into different types of meditation that really put you in a state in which it's almost as if you're dreaming, as well as I've practiced and studied some like methods of um, traveling out of body and astral projection and some of those things. And even when you don't jump into that kind of stuff, just looking at dreams by themselves is pretty outstanding. Um, I was recently talking to Edward about this, um, because generally I don't remember my dreams, but recently there were a few that I sort of remembered that I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like truly, what the heck? There was one that I don't want to get into right now, but like it seemed like the whole dream was going normally, and then I got a call, and then it was like a huge fucking like brain fuck what's going on. And then I woke up and it was even worse because it was like, shit, that was a dream, but the way in which it was connecting to me and the ideas that were unfolding because of that call that happened in the dream and the way that it was fucking my mind inside the dream, and then waking up to realize that it was not this life, that it was a dream. Like, oh shit, like that was so strange. And an idea that I've been playing with, and when you there's this idea, and I think it's sort of like an idea of physics, although it almost sounds a little bit like metaphysics, and it is the idea that there's like infinite universes, that um, there's another universe out there in which things have happened almost exactly the same as this one, but just slightly different. That you made maybe like a slightly different decision than the decisions that you made up until today. And so, if you think of the universe into like splitting into infinity like that, then there's also the possibility that there are universes out there that in which they didn't split in a different direction because of a decision that one of us made, but they split into a different direction because of a decision that maybe like the laws of nature made. So where I'm going with this is that I've been wondering if what's happening with dreams is that when we're in that state in which our body is relaxed, we're sort of lingering somewhere that is not tied down to this universe. And so we're accidentally, to some degree, or maybe not accidentally, experiencing what's going on in some of the other places. And so maybe the reason we can have dreams in which things don't seem to make sense in our life is because maybe that isn't our life. That maybe what's going on is that we're stepping into a universe in which things played out very different for us. And we are sort of like learning from the experiences of that version of us so that we can bring it to us. And then maybe in some way, there's another version of us who's coming into this life and is seeing like the shit that we're doing, and they're like, oh, what the fuck? But for us, it makes complete sense. It's our daily life. There's a really interesting set of stories. There's an author called Robert Monroe, and he has 3 books on out of body experiences, which I would definitely recommend, even if you're not into the topic. Just the stories that are in there are really cool. And one of the things that became sort of like a recurring thing to him throughout his books. The books are Journeys Out of the Bodies, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journeys, I think are the three books. That is the chronological order of them. So if you go through them in that order, it's almost as if you're taking in for a ride with the author, because it's like him telling you his experiences and how it has been like changing his life, and the way in which some of the experiences have melded together with experiences from that happened later, and that showed up in the later books. But one of the kind of like recurring ones was that he would go out of body, but then he would be in the body of this person that was in a completely different reality. Like, it's a world that seemed a lot like ours, but the technology was different. It was more like sort of like a steam type of technology. And it's really interesting because he's almost like literally stepping into this guy's life for a few seconds, and it almost feels like in some degree he's almost like fucking it up, because, like, for example, there's one in which he steps into his life and he's driving this, it's basically a car, but it's to him it's almost like an alien type of machinery, because he cannot figure out how to work the controls of this sort of like steam car that has a bunch of levers and all these kind of things. And so and the dude is like with sort of like his family. It's not his like direct family, but it's people who he considers as family, or wants to consider sort of as family. So I don't know, it's just, dreams are so weird. And I feel like there's such a wealth of knowledge in them that we are not really exploring. And I think part of that is that we don't really maybe know how to explore them, or how to dive into them in a way that we can find growth, or we can find value. But man, do I feel like we're going to make a huge leap in the way in which we see the world whenever we figure out how to understand dreams better, or how to approach them in a way that we can integrate with those experiences. Or integrate with those experiences in the way that we integrate with our experiences here. That maybe one of the things that I'm interested to see is if at some point we're gonna not draw such a firm line between sort of like this reality and the dream reality, that if at some point we can sort of put the two of those in a similar level or similar state in which we regard them, or we can have as much appreciation for them as we have appreciation for kind of like the quote-unquote real world, then I don't know. I feel like it's going to be really cool to see the way in which we can connect with ourselves and with each other by allowing that to be part of our experience.